Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about D&D's, not Dungeons and Dragons, Benioff and Weiss's incredible Death by Lightning, which is the Netflix 4-issue series, drama series, which tells the historical story of the assassination of James Garfield by James A. Garfield by Charles Guiteau. Really astonishing story. Easily one of the top 5 television, easily one of the top 5 street shows that has ever been put on Netflix. It's absolutely phenomenal. 5 out of 5 stars. And what I want to talk about with this today, in context to Dungeons and Dragons, is what you accomplish as a dungeon master. So D&D comes forward, Benioff and Weiss come forward, and they create Death by Lightning. Okay, now Death by Lightning is this. It's like a new Hamilton, right? So Alexander Hamilton is an important historical figure in American history, and the musical really just catapults him into a new level of fame and fame and prominence, right? So what's really incredible is Death by Lightning is like, hey, James A. Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, and Charles Guiteau are all forgotten. It's just this forgotten area of history, and they're right? And this show just shines a spotlight on it. But what I want to talk about today is the power we have as dungeon masters. So what's really incredible about Death by Lightning, and what it shows what we can, and it shows what we can do as dungeon masters. So what Death by Lightning does is it has given 4 great actors the greatest performances of their lives. Okay, so let's just tick them off. So Matthew Macfadyen, he plays Charles Guiteau, and it is his best performance ever. It's not even close. So he was in Succession, and he did a great job in Succession. I watched every episode of that. It was phenomenal. But this far surpasses anything he did in Succession. And it's by far his greatest role. Nick Offerman, by far his best role. And none of all these guys have incredible roles already, right? They're really already, producing incredible work. But this is better than anything they've ever done. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I said, so Matthew Macfadyen, and then Michael Shannon plays James A. Garfield. Phenomenal role, absolutely phenomenal role, and better than anything he's ever done, right? Nick Offerman, he plays Chester A. Arthur. Better than anything he did on Parks and Rec, better than what he did in Devs, better than what he did in Civil War, A24 Civil War. It's the best role of his life, right? And it's incredible. And then finally, Betty Gilpin. Oh my gosh, she's phenomenal. So she is James A. Garfield's wife. She survived him by 37 years after Garfield was assassinated. But Betty Gilpin does a phenomenal job in this, right? And what's wild is Benioff and Weiss come forward and they're like, hey, we have the power to make whatever we want. This would never get made without us, right? And they're 100% right. There's no way this show would have been given a $50 to $100 to $150 million to make this period piece. Nobody would have done that, right? Without Benioff and Weiss coming in from Game of Thrones and using their Game of Thrones success to get this thing made, right? One for them, one for you, right? This is the one for you, for Benioff and Weiss. They're like, we're going to use our Hollywood capital to make a story that Hollywood would never make, right? And it is incredible. So as dungeon masters, we are in the same position as Benioff and Weiss. So we get people, and you might get a plumber who comes to your table. You might get, an accountant who comes to your table. You might get a college student who comes to your table, right? And they're like, oh, I'm just a regular person, right? But when you create that world, you give them the opportunity to craft a persona, to craft a character, to tell a story that's never been told in a way that it's never been told. And who benefits from it, right? Like right now, the entire nation of the United States of America is benefiting from Death by Lightning, learning it, like seeing this incredibly dark, actually seeing a forgotten moment in our history completely illuminated down to the finest detail, right? And it's like we went into a cave, because I have a degree in political science. I didn't even know a tenth of what I learned in this. It was incredible, right? And so who do we help? We can help those people who come to the table understand themselves better. We can bless the world with a story that goes out from that table and is consumed by millions of people. Scott, D&D stories aren't consumed by millions of people. Of course they are. Are you not watching? We're about to get season 4 of, actually we're about to get season 1 of Mighty Nine. Legends of Vox Machina, it's going for a 5th season, right? Like, it's astonishing, right? Like, of course Dungeons and Dragons stories are consumed by millions of people. So it could be the people who consume those stories. It can be something that is learned by the players who are next to the players who give the performance of their lives. Just one piece of wisdom that they never forget, that reshapes how they live. This is a perfect example of what can be accomplished by a good dungeon master. Allowing the players to play the role of their lives. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion, nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like subscribing and have a fetch millennium.